So much for tuning into today's space. My name is Priscilla Wahio, and I'll be taking you through today's space. Today's is a different one. It's going to be an open mic session. But before I begin, I'd like to know, can you guys hear me? Please send me any form of reaction so that we can begin this conversation. And as you're doing that, I'd love for this conversation to be an interactive conversation. I want this to be as interactive as possible. So I can already see that people on the speakers panel. I'd love for more people to come up to the speakers panel. I'd also love for us to, if you're feeling a bit shy to do so, it's okay. You can write your comment on the comment section. So without further ado, the guys who are on the speakers panel need ndo tutanza na nyinyi the space for tonight. And, you know, a lot of things have been happening since June. And there's a quote that says there are a lot of things, there are years that nothing happens, and then there are weeks that decades happen, and that feels like what this country has been going through since, let's say, June. And there has been quote unquote a break and a period of calm and normalcy. But I'd love to hear from the people on the space tonight. How would you describe the current state of the nation? So we'll start with Celine, then Victor, and then we go on like that. So, and when you come out to the speakers panel, please make your comments as short as possible so that everybody can get a chance to chime into the conversation. So, Celine, how would you describe the current state of the nation? Okay, since we can't hear Celine, Prof, you can go ahead. Okay, Patrick, how would you describe the state of the nation?
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Can you hear me? Thank you.
Yes.
I think, thank you. I thank you for the space and for hosting this space today. I like this topic, what future holds for this country after Nane. I think before even you look at the future, let us look at what is happening in our country now. For me, I think we have ignored our constitution because what was happening today was putting our constitution to the test. Unfortunately,
Patrick, we've lost
who are
you.
supposed to be the guardians of the law.
Okay.
Constitution says when people peacefully to. Can you hear me?
Yeah, now you're back.
Thank you. I was saying what happened today, and when we discuss about the
Okay, it seems that we've lost Patrick, but I'd like to hear from Sigret. I hope I've not butchered your name. I'd like you to explain to me in your own terms, how would you describe the state of the nation?
Well, thank you so much, K24, for giving me the space to air my views. I am very sad, I'm a very sad Kenyan. I feel like we are living in one of the most scariest times in our nation. In the history of our country, for a long time, we've not been in a situation that we are in currently, where the policemen who are the custodians of the law are blatantly disregarding the rule of law. They are coming dressed like militia. We are seeing people that have similar images like those of Al-Shabaab. We are seeing police vehicles coming to us without number plates. It is very scary. I don't know where we are right now, because I feel very sad. The political class have forcefully dragged us back into political baskets, and it is so sad to even read things that people are talking about. When we started this thing, when we started a call for governance, we were very, very sure of what we wanted. We are not fools, we are learned. We went to school, we've read the constitution, we know what good governance means. And we were just calling for good governance in simple, plain terms, peacefully. But the political class went ahead and gave us political solutions, things that we clearly didn't want. We gave them a test. They disregarded our test. They went ahead and said their own questions and still got wrong answers. And so what we are seeing right now is clearly political manipulation that is coming to us forcefully. These are the times that our fathers used to tell us of, you cannot just sit because walls have ears, you cannot just speak. Right now, by the way, we are not even sure of our freedom of speech, because you don't know if Ruto's people are around you. And now they've gone all the political class against the common citizens. We are in those times. We are in those times. And I just want to tell Kenyans that if you allow yourself to be taken back to this cancer called tribalism, this Mtuwetu syndrome, it is killing us as a nation. I don't know what we can do. I've seen many artists, people are going back into grassroots and giving civic education. And I want to really applaud, especially the people that I've seen going into vehicles, public vehicles, and teaching wananchi. I don't know what you can do as a commoner, but there's so much to unpack. We can achieve good governance that we want to see in our country, but only if we beat this cancer called tribalism. It is eating us. This tribalism to come from that place, and please be ready to do that work. Between us and good governance lies that cancer of tribalism. Guys, we need to work against it. If you are a blogger, if you are write something up, teach your people that we are stuck in a mess. Otherwise, I just wanted to also vent. I'm really sad at what has continued to happen, at the blatant disregard for the rule of law, at the political class spitting on the people. We say that we are not comfortable with some of the appointees because they have active corruption cases, and then on the day that we are going to show our anger, they are swearing them in. It is a very sad state of affairs. But it is now upon us Kenyans. What next? It is civic education. What next? It is about you to unlearn that tribal alignments will not take us anywhere. Systems are working outside here. Systems are working. Where I live, I met my MP riding a bicycle with no bodyguard. Hata nilikuwa tu nimeambiwa this is an MP of your area, you know? People don't care about, so long as they can serve, and that's the country that I want to see, you know. But we cannot achieve that level of success if we are always about Mtuwetu syndrome. It is very sad. Thank you so much, K24.
Thank you so much for your thoughts, Sigret. I hope I'm not butchering your name. And what I've got from your sentiments, your thoughts, and your opinions is that as a nation, we need to show that we are ready for good governance. And you said this is demolishing the tribalism, the Mtuwetu syndrome, and things like that. But before we get to that, because I want to discuss that, I'd like to hear from one more person. How would you describe the state of the nation? And Jacob, your mic is already on. Tell us what you think about it, and kindly keep your comments as short as possible so that you can have people give their thoughts. Jacob? Okay, Evans?
Yes, thank you, Kai24, maybe for this chance to talk and address the nation. On the view of maybe extrajudicial and the view that Kenyans have done maybe on demos and the fight of democracy, the fight of the rights of the citizens, I'm now giving maybe my view and my feeling maybe on the governance that we are feeling at this point. It's not good as we believe. We had that reservation 80% trust as we elected the new leaders who are now holding the state's powers. And currently, the extrajudicial killings, the massive abduction is not as per the reservation of the expectation. Now, as we consider on the merits of democracy, I'm not pleased of what's happening at this government. It has reached a point of the two classes whereby connection is considered as a factor. Who knows you and whom do you know? As per that consideration, I urge all Kenyans to come out and turn in fight of democracy, fight for the liberty of our new generation, which we inquire, which we support. In the life that we live now, we peg in the consideration of the belief that our president and the leaders whom we have elected could deliver us. In such note, I urge all the youths, besides the chance that they have not been given to exercise their innovation and invention, the regard that they have not been given, they have not been given a chance, maybe on employment basis, and make it possible. Thank you.
Thank you so much, engineer. Okay, Muna, your hand is up. How would you describe the state of the nation?
Thank you so much, K24, for hosting us and also the listeners. First of all, I would like to pass my condolences to the comrades who have been injured today in the course of the demonstrations. Yeah, personally, I'm grateful and I thank God that I'm going back home. I came from Western to be part of to be with my comrades here in town, and I'm glad I'm going back home safely. Now, about the state of the nation, I've never been convinced that Ruto is one man who had any good intention for Kenya, even at once. And I'll never believe him. For reason that even if today Ruto appoints the best of the best to be in government, they won't be able to do anything good for Kenya. Because the interests of Ruto are not for anything good, not anything for Kenyans. The interests are very personal. He's a thief, he's corrupt by all means, so he has never had any good intention. Now, just like the first speaker said, it is going to cost us a lot simply because he came and tried to provide a political solution as opposed to what the rest of the Kenya was crying for, because he knew that is what people will want to hear. You know, Ruto is one man who knows how to talk to people. He always say what people want to hear, and especially sometimes I feel so bad because most of our people, like, they never learn. It's like they're so ignorant. They can't just differentiate between right and wrong. So for them, they will clap at anything. So Ruto is good at that. He know how to do it, and that is just exactly what he has done. Ndivyo sababu leo utasikia kwamba many people have not come out to demonstrate. It's like we are satisfied with whatever has happened. When you hear people talking us, we are contented because we have one of our own in the government. That worries us a lot. Now, on the way forward, after this day, let's take it upon ourselves, at least for us who understand what we want for Kenya. Let's take it upon ourselves, continue with the civic education, so that come 2027, at least we have a good number who will be able to understand what Kenya needs to be in future. Thank you so much, guys. That's all I had to say.
Thank you so much, Mona, for your discussion, for your contribution. Apologies. And what I've heard from you and the two previous speakers is that a lot of work needs to be done at the moment, and this means this work is in civic education. And I'd like to hear from Anthony, whose hand is already up. What role do you see social media playing in amplifying the voices of the people and shaping public opinion, and also now when it comes to civic education? And is there a way that you can take that conversation that is on social media to the ground? Anthony.
Thank you, K24, for hosting this space. I'll go direct to your question, the role of social media in this movement. I'm pleased to announce today that we are already doing that in terms of civic education. We have, on a space I host with Andrew Kibe, we have set out a very wonderful structure on Telegram, and we've recruited members from across the country and across the globe, all the way including to Dubai. We have members in the US, where now we are sensitizing Kenyans on civic education, on the importance of taking up your IDs so that you can vote in the next general elections, on the importance of doing vetting, proper vetting of your members of parliament, your MCA, and how best Kenyans, young Kenyans in particular, will be able to make their voices heard clearly come the next general elections. Because earlier on, we told everyone that we have to play the long game. What we've been seeing so far in the movement, and I am grateful that this happened, was labor pains. A child was conceived, a child has been birthed today. Because today, most Kenyans go home, young Kenyans go home asking themselves, was it worth it? Yes, it was. I know there's disappointment in the air, but that disappointment is what now will make us come together in these social spaces and start discussing tangible ways of how we shall make that baby that was born today, that is tribeless, that does not know nepotism, that does not know corruption, that does not know all the ills we were fighting for. That child was born today, that new Kenya was born today, and that child will be nurtured and grown on social media. K24, let me tell you, and to all the 500 people listening, from tomorrow going forward, the conversation will be on civic education. I don't want to talk much about our group because I'm on K24's page, but already we have come up with a structure of how we shall do it in Mombasa. And I'm happy I'm seeing Josephine here, she's one of us. How we are doing it in Mombasa, we have other people in Kisumu, and we're already doing it. Now that conversation is what will change Kenya going forward. And I can promise you one thing, a new Kenya was born today. What we were going through was the conceiving of the child, and the child was born today. So congratulations for making your contribution to the new Kenya hard. And the next step for this country, then future will be determined on social media, largely. Thank you, K24.
Thank you so much, Anthony, for your contribution, for your thoughts. And you've spoken about a sense of disappointment in the air, and people would be asking themselves if it was worth it to get out and go to the streets today. But I'd like to hear from, let's say, from Josephine. What is the most significant outcome of today's protests? What is the one thing that people could carry home so that they can feel like they have nguvu mpya to continue advocating for good governance and accountability from our leaders? Josephine?
Thank you, K24, for hosting this space. And maybe before I proceed, fellow Kenyans, good evening. And anyone who has an idea where KOT could be, let us know whether it's safe. And also, we have some wakilis who have been arrested and they are in Central Police Station. Kindly, those who are in Nairobi, check on them so that we can know their whereabouts and their safety, so that we ensure that everybody is okay. Yeah, thank you for giving me this opportunity. And what I can say is that in most cases, people might feel that we did achieve a lot. Yes, it's because the government also had laid down their structures, because once you are told, I'm coming to attack you, you will always have your defense. And what we've seen today is the government trying to create its defense such that what we had promised, it doesn't happen. However, they are trying to be professional, and we are also in a position to be professional and make them work in professionalism. Right now, we have done so much saying that we don't want to have leaders. We don't want somebody who can be bought. And I championed for so long that we need to have structures, even if it's not single individuals, but we have pillars. And I believe the time has come for us now to have these pillars who will be championing these things. And anytime that we hold a meeting in the space, they are giving us feedback. As the pillar that speaks on behalf of the team, this is what we've discovered. We have discovered people are not getting quality services in immigration. We have discovered people are not getting their IDs, and these are the challenges, and this is how we can tackle them. We have discovered that people are not getting good conduct. We have discovered that the issue of the expiring IDs, it has not been worked on, and vice versa. Because with this, we are able to guide. Right now, we are hearing in our hospitals, we have shortage of ICU beds. That is something which should not be had in Kenya, because in the year of COVID-19, in each and every hospital, including level 2s, we had ICU beds. We need accountability. Where are these ICU beds? Where did they go? We cannot tell us now somebody can be admitted in Kenyatta Hospital and there's no an ICU bed. That is something that should not be had in this nation. And these are the things now, because the government is trying to tell us we can be professional and we can work professionally. Now we also need to put them on track so that they give us accountability of all these things. Let's not hear of this, and we can only do that with a proper planning, whereby we know who to engage who, so that they can bring us the feedback. And that's the only way we shall prevail, and we shall fight this battle and win. As we think about whether we are going to the streets again or not, let's first up our house in a proper structure, in a proper order, so that when we go out there, we are going like we have this particular pillar which speaks on this, and they have brought it to us, and we feel the government is not fitting to this. We are going out now to chase. Why are you not doing 1, 2, 3? Thank you so much. I think with that, we can actually achieve a lot. Thank you so much, K24. And may God bless us. May God bless Kenya. Thank you for all those who were out there ensuring that we get the justice that we deserve. I pass my deepest condolences to the person who has been shot, dead, and those who are still injured. We are praying for your quick recovery, and those who are in the cells, kindly let's stress and make sure that they are all out on bond so that we can take care of the matters while they are outside. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Josephine, for your contribution. Allow me to read a comment from Odoyo Uwidi. I think he's answering the question, the future beyond Nane. So he says, define for us political class. In Kenya, protesters burnt a whole shopping mall with 3 people inside, but we would rather concentrate on police brutality when the speaker concentrates on tribalism as the impediment to good governance, but says nothing about the largely tribal Limuru 3 conference. She's not honest. Talking of bringing in tribal kingpins when only Raila joined the government side, leaving Kalonzo, Eugene, and Uhuru with the GenZs is being dishonest. In fact, these people who had the chance to vote for this person they call a tribal kingpin, but they thought he would be more difficult to remove from office than street violence because that is his area of expertise. I'd also want to read a comment by Hussein Adan. Hussein Adan says, so people are active only on online media, but when it comes to coming out, only 50 guys showed up. And again, that is the question I was posing, is how do we move this conversation from social media and take it to the ground? I'd like to hear from Josh Wash. Josh Wash.
Yes, thank you very much, K24, for the opportunity. And first of all, the state of the nation and the future beyond Nane. I think today's protests we failed to achieve our target, and that was to oust the incumbent president. And we really failed, and there was our numbers were really suppressed. Very few people came out. So it shows that it is a lack of morale. That unlike before, when people were coming up in the streets to fight for their rights, when we started our protests, it is clear that there is lack of morale, and the fact that Raila Odinga and his troops entered into government, I think that is one of the reasons why we saw the suppression of numbers as far as today's demonstrations are concerned. But I think that we are not. We should not lose hope. We should not lose hope because we are many. We are 55 million Kenyans, and the political class and the elite are very few, are just thousands, and we can defeat them if we mean it. But we should, right now, we should allow time for the cabinet secretaries who are vetted to perform their duties, and we should come up with, I think it is high time that we should come up with clear structures to be able to drive for votes, for vote registration, because most of us young people are not registered as voters, and we have not, for a long time, we have not been taking elections seriously, because we have been saying that it is for the elite and for the people for people who have the nini. We have been saying that elections are for people who, for the arrogant people, for people who stand up for people who know how to insult others. And that is the reason even why we have the current government in place, because we will realize that over 8 million Kenyans did not vote. and during election time, most of us are on social media platforms, just engaging and sharing memes and what have you. But I think it is high time that we should really register massively as voters so that come 2027, we can send these people home. And for us to send these people home and set afresh, we need to start with the grassroots, like the MCAs and the members of parliament. We ought to defeat these political parties which are more of personal properties. Like you look at ODM is about Raila Odinga, and you look at UDA is about William Ruto. What he says is final, and it is these political parties do not serve the Kenyan at the bottom of the pyramid. They do not serve us in any way. So we should start by defeating them, and we elect like independent candidates who have great and progressive ideals for our country, and that will be a new start for our country. And I think if we do that, we will be directing our country to the right trajectory. But if we continue with our protests, our numbers are going to be suppressed because of the fear and the intimidations, and because of the the status quo that has been here for a long time, the tribal cocoons. Most of these politicians are well established and they have structures. Like you look at someone like the Honorable Raila Odinga, he has great structures that has allowed him to survive all in his political career. So what do we do? I think we should really come up with great structures, and we should, right now, we should not be talking about like protest. What should that on a weekly basis we are going to protest and what have you. No, we should be coming up with a very profound progressive structures of how we are going to counter these people. Because if we don't do so, people are eventually going to back to their default settings. Because even there was a political poll that says that over 75 Kenyans from both sides of the political divide were supporting the GenZs protests. But if you look carefully, you will see that many people are now retreating back to their tribal cocoons. Now, what is the reason? Because we are becoming, we are losing relevance. Like you have this group of 3 people who are roaming around TV stations, and their message at first, their interview went viral, but afterwards, their subsequent interviews have been more of they have gained irrelevance because they have become so much repetitive. So
Josh, please
I
land.
think that yes, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you so much for your thoughts, Josh. So I'd like to hear also from Liz. Do you agree with Josh that this is the time now to put a hold on the mandamanos, but now we as Kenyans, they start looking for other ways to hold the government accountable? Please.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Hi, Jerry Wahil. I just want to say thank you for creating the space and hosting us, because I believe it's important to take account of Nane and what we have achieved. And it's also important to analyze how the outcome of Nane, what did we do right? And where did we go wrong, or what did we achieve, and then what can we do better, and maybe the next the way forward. Yeah. And according to my opinion, I won't speak much, is if people had number one, there was over reliance on social media because we could see different people holding spaces and people giving opinions and talking, not remembering that space is not ground. The ground was totally different because in the spaces people had made a resolution to be in town early enough so that by 4, I think by 4, by 3, so that by the time the police barricade the streets, people are already in town. But when it came to the reality now today, around 8, some people were still in the estates. They had not left the house, and the roads were already barricaded. So I think going forward, if people are going to still have the mandamanos, there should be reduce over reliance on spaces and Twitter and social media and being on the ground and mobilizing from the ground, going to Kamukunji and speaking to people. I think that would have more impact. And I think that is one of the things that really made today not be a success. According to me, it didn't feel like a success because people were supposed to be marching in millions and marching towards State House. And I also believe if we were in millions, then we would have been able to overpower the police, right? So that is one thing that's a lesson learned that people should have. That let's avoid over reliance on social media and be on the ground. Be like foot. Well, when they say foot soldiers, be foot soldier. Have your foot on the street and mobilize, like literally. Explain to people why we need to have the march. Don't just be talking on spaces and then the real people who are supposed to go for the march do not even get that information in the space. Number 2 was planning. There was no planning and there was no structure at all because I was on space, I'm not on the ground, so I can't say I can't give a real scenario in the ground. But I was on the space in the morning because we wanted to get real updates, right? And people were still saying, "I'm in town. I traveled overnight from up country. I'm in town. I would really like to know where do we go? Where do we meet?" Right? So there was a little shortage in the planning side, and majorly because there's no structure. We don't have somebody to give direction to the movement and say, this is what we plan. We should be in town by 4 a.m. or 5 a.m. And then we converge at this place and then we move this way. So I think that brought a lot of confusion in the movement today. So that's taking account of how I analyze the situation today. Going forward, I've said let's avoid over reliance on social media and let's have structures. Another thing on the state of the nation is with these mandamanos going and we not achieving really what we want, because in the beginning we achieved the finance bill was repealed and then came back, and then firing of the CSS, and then they came back. To me, it's a flop when we are getting results and then it gets overturned, and in that way we are creating tyrant leadership in the country, right? Because now our voices will not be heard in the future. We will try to do something. We will try to give notice for mandamano, but who will give us attention? Nobody, because we have been reduced to people who speak without authority. We do not give do not give ideas that are going to materialize. So we are creating a tyrant. We are heading into a dictatorship, literally, because if this is what is happening, we could see today people had planned for mandamano, but the state activities were going on. So yeah, I had an echo. So there's no one paying attention to us, really, right? So we need to be serious. If you are going to bring a change, we need to put our house in order. If you're going to have structure, if you're going to have people giving direction to the movement, so that when we say we are going to do something, it is well planned, it's executed, it's implemented, and we see results that are tangible and sustainable. Another thing, and this is final, is tribalism. This is one thing that is killing us. And I think it's the major root cause of corruption. Because once people were given CS positions, everybody became happy. We could see Mandamano was only going on in Nairobi. Other cities, other towns There was no maandamano. People were going around their businesses. Why was that? Their lives are still not improved because of these positions. Those people who are happy, but they're just happy because somebody who shares a name with them or shares a home with them has been given a position. So I think moving forward, let's have a change of mind towards tribalism. It is not how we should be or where we should be in 2024. As much as we are still glorifying tribalism and the Mutumetu syndrome is still there, it will be very hard for us to move in this country because it excites people to see their person in power. Yet at the end of the day, they're still going back to their homes to sleep hungry. Their kids have no food. Their roads are not developed. And these people who they are celebrating are living large. They're using your taxpayers' money to live large, yet your lives are not improved and you're celebrating because they're selected. The moment we will decide as a country and as young people to shun tribalism and do this education, because we may be in spaces and we know tribalism is killing us, but if we do not go back to the ground and educate people that this tribalism is not helping us, it's not helping the common mwananchi, it's helping the political class because they're playing with us. So the moment we take this to the people in the machinanis and teach them and let them know that it doesn't matter whose tribe it is, as long as the person who's there cares for me and my children and my health and my education, then that is what matters. But before we get to that position, I don't think we are going to make any tangible movements in the country. Thank you so much for the opportunity to speak. I'll yield the mic.
Thank you so much, Liz, for your thoughts. You said tribalism is the number one thing that we're supposed to demolish in order for this movement to, go well, and also that there's no planning, no structure on the ground. And this leads me to my other question. Do you think this is the right time to now shun the whole thing of tribeless, leaderless, but then now leaderless? I'd like to hear from Abiri. Is it a time now for people to get a leader for this movement?
Thank you
Abiri,
for
Africa.
giving me the mic. I honestly don't think it's time to get leaders because that's what the government wants. That's what they want us to give them. Somebody to prosecute, somebody to hold talks with, somebody to pin the actions of the entire movement on. I really don't think it's time to get leaders. The leaderless, the reason why it worked the first times, like the first 2 to 3 maandamanos, was because everybody had a similar vision. Like we all wanted the same thing. We wanted the finance bill gone. Right now, we started talking about you're going to the streets for personal reasons. You see now, people start getting like, okay, you start to sit down and think, yes, there's a lot this government is not doing. We want accountability. We want functioning systems, but at the end of the day, like most people cannot tell you a personal reason. Maybe they can, but you have to sit down and think about it before you actually word out where you want to be on the streets. And I think that's the problem you're facing right now. Most people feel demoralized. Most people don't feel like they have a clear vision where they want to be on the streets. So yeah, that's what I think. It's not time to relinquish the leaderless, tribeless, fearless. But I do think the fear has gotten into us. We've seen our comrades get killed. We've seen the brutality that has been unleashed on us. And I think that has made us like step back a little. So yeah, I don't think it's time. Thank you.
Thank you for your thoughts, Abiri Africa. I'd like to hear from Kingori Mwangi. Is it time to look for a leader, to elect a leader? Then after you, Kijana, can go, then Diplomat, then Chelugeti. Kingori?
Thank you, K24, for this chance. I just want to add on on what others have said, and I want to say that it is not the time. For now, we need to also continue using the Article 37, a part which have not been utilized properly. Is this one of presenting petitions to public authorities. Now we need to devise a new means of packaging what we want the government to do in terms of petitioning the public authorities. If it is about IDs and the passports, we package that information properly, petition the parliament, or take it to the cabinet secretary who have just been appointed, and the PS. Give it to them. When you announce that there is a mandamano or the protests, you package those all the needs that we have on that particular state department. Then it is presented to them. Then on that day instead of calling it a protest, we march all the way to that state department with a list of our demands. Then we take it to the CS and we make sure that the CS and the PS have picked the package of our issues. Then the next time again, we identify another department, we take our issues that way, so that we can sustain this all the way to 2027. And I want to urge each one of us to be very active in matters politics. And when I say politics, means that we participate fully in registration of members before a party is registered. When the IBC is formed, we come out in large numbers, we register ourselves, we pick the national IDs, so that is the only tool that can get rid of all these mess in our offices. So that when it comes to 2027, we now come out in large numbers. In our numbers, millions and millions of Kenyans who are qualified to vote should come out and decide our destination. Because now, the only way we can sustain this is by going to every state department, maybe after 2 months or 1 month, we identify a date, we go to a state department, social protection, or our wazaes should be paid within the required time. We go there, we present the petition. Next time again. So we have a calendar of events that are taking long, so that idea of changing Kenya can continue being there, so that each one of us participates. Let us not just say that now we shall not have. Now remember last election, we had 8 million Kenyans who never voted. That 8 million, if it was, and it is the one which has brought this issue, all this mess, because that number is very huge to decide a destiny of our country. So we should all mobilize our families, members, everywhere we go, in our workplaces, when we are walking in our bus, when we are traveling in our buses, we tell people, really register, have a registration, now register for you to participate fully in this politics. Don't say that politics is that a game. It is now we can clean it. We can clean it and clean it and clean it properly until even the leaders who are there, they will be shocked. At the time, they will now realize things are not the way they thought. And that is the only tool that we are remaining with. But for now, let us sustain ourselves through going to every department of the state department, present our issues. If it is higher education, about the help, about financing model, let us go there with demands of that particular area, targeting so that even the PS and the CS can be left with a copy of it, and then no one will say that the GenZs never presented anything. And we change the faces. Let us not have leaders. We change our face. We go as a group. No one person will be left that maybe Casmuel is being noticed every time and then. He will be marked and you will be told that you are the leader. Let us stop that one. So thank you so much, K24.
Thank you so much, Kingori. Kijana ya town.
Asante sana. Can you hear? Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Thank you so much. You're saying state of a nation, the future beyond Nane. I think the future beyond Nane, there will be tisa and there will be kumi and kumi na moja. That is what I'm saying, because people are saying here we didn't achieve anything. I was in town. We achieved government not to collect revenue. We achieved investors going away, shunning away from the town. We achieved so much today, because when they play dirty, they also affect their also operations. And that is why I'm encouraging people, don't give up. Because you see what they did. They know that you cannot march 1 million people to State House if they are not in one accord, if they are not in one venue. So what they did, they made sure they didn't even come. I'm surprised someone say here that they came in the morning. We should have gone at 4. They came yesterday. These roadblocks were elected yesterday. And we knew that will happen because they don't want a group of people to show that this movement is going down. But the truth of the matter is, this movement is actually gaining momentum. The moment they kill people, the moment they shoot. I was in town. I went because you have to disguise yourself. But at the end of the day, we were looking. There were so many plainclothes policemen abducting people and putting them in the cars. The thing is, guys, let us not give up. We need tisa, but we need to strategize now. We need like Karad, because if you look at what happened in Bangladesh, there was no people who were they did not control the entrances to the CBD. Now this one's controlled everywhere, and in fact, because we so many young people don't even have transport to come to town, and so maybe next one should be having rallies. We should even have a rally somewhere, so that at the end of the day we gather people, we charge people, and the moment people are charged, they will go and say what they want. This government has lost its credibility, legitimacy, and that is why they are scared and they are going for the kingpins. Me, I look at the police and you wonder, are these people going to take the tear gas because they have been hungry the whole day and yesterday? Are they going? Do they even watch the news and see a cabinet secretary saying that I'm worth 650 million? That have made profit in 2 years, have made more than 150 million. Surely, is this a country we want? That 5 cabinet ministers have made more profit than national media group, than even K24. Your K24 has not made 100 and 200 million pie in a year's time. That this is not the kind of a country we want. If they are so good in investment, they should have gone in the private sector so that they can employ people. So guys, we have attained a lot. KRA did not correct. Investors, shops were not opened. And those who are saying that there were no mandamanos in other towns, it is because the memo was we converge in town. But they made it difficult for people to come to town. So the next mandamano, which I propose should be tisa, should be in every town so that we can stretch them to the end. Today, we achieved a lot because there was no business. And let's continue fighting for accountability. And we don't have to worry about this because they don't want any structure. These people are listening to me even right now. They are tracking maybe my phone or your phone because they are here. But most of them are very poor people. They are just being told you will be adding you 30,000, but the boss is all going to make 100 million this year. Next, maybe when they are going back to the interview room, they will say, now I'm worth 1 billion. And that is what is agitating the people of Kenya. Let us not feel discouraged. We didn't fail. In fact, they lost more than we lost because they lost at a day. In a day, Careta gets about 34 to 54 billion shillings. They didn't get that. So at the end of the day, we know we paralyzed the country. And at the end of the day, we give people a holiday. And so people don't be discouraged. We'll have a country that we desire. Like if you go to other countries and say, oh my God, I wish our country could be like this. When you go to these European countries where even a minister being mentioned and even thought to have committed corruption resigns, that is where we are getting into. I don't see ourselves giving up. Let us continue agitating for good governance. And about leadership, we don't want leadership. Let me tell you, Ruto can even appoint Nandis or his tribemen, as long as if you go to hospitals, you get Panados, you get vaccinations, you can be treated. Today, do the guys, if you get an accident, for surgery itself, it's of 100,000. Where do you get it? You start now telling people for Harambes. So these are the things we want them to be sorted. And once they are sorted, we can go back home and say, we did a good job. But don't be discouraged. They had for armed themselves. They were in every entrance to the CBD, and that is why they succeeded to see no group gathered. And therefore, it is not a problem because so many places, even the ones that have a revolution, they make sure that they don't kill people like these people are doing. But we'll strategize. Let's have rallies. in the future where we have to converge and then we charge our people to town. Thank you so much. K24, let's continue giving the civic education and telling people a luta continua. There is nothing that will change until we change.
Thank you so much, Kijana ya Town. I want to tie what you said to a comment on here by Honorable Rhoda Pule. It is good to re-strategize. Plan B and C should be approached. Chelugeti, I'd like to hear from you. What does Plan B and Plan C look like to you?
I think thanks first K24 for this space and this time for us to at least air our views. Here I think it's the only place that you can air our views with no someone filtering what to say. Let me say this. Plan B and C, according to me. Next time when we're planning to protest, let's not say like we'll be converging maybe in Nairobi only. If we want to protest, let us do the same way we did it the first two demonstrations which turned to be big. Let's demonstrate in each and every person where each and every person comes from, be it Kisumu, Kisii, Machakos, every town. When we will go with such kind of demonstration in each and every place, it makes these people to feel us. They are tense by because some of these people can't even feel this thing when we will focus on Nairobi only. Because maybe when you focus in Nairobi, someone in Migori may not feel that effect. Everything is going on as planned in Migori. So how do we expect these people to feel the demonstration of this of us and when we are focused in just one town? Plan B should be, let's do this thing in all towns. And next time, let's not focus on some individuals. And today, Nane was very confused from to yesterday, the day before yesterday. But some of us were just pushing others, let's go and do this. But there had been confusion since the start of planning this thing because some people are listening to some people, someone listening to another person, someone listening to another person. So each and every person was following what the person he trusts says, and this hii imetupoteza sana. I think we should have like planned this as one people as Gen Z and come out as Gen Zs. But if you trust, okay, you taking some people to these media places to just say about Gen Z, about the demos. Some people will just take this as ignorance and will it take as an advantage of others. Sisi wenyewe we have already started saying, oh, others have been given some cash with some leaders, others are receiving something from the government. That's where we lose the focus. We should focus on what we started and until it's finished, then we should not even start doing so. Let these people feed from government. We'll come for them. They'll do this time round, but there is a time that will come for them, as we are doing for these other people. So this nane thing should be when we're planning another thing. Let's be equal to something that will be planned by each and every person, because right now most of these people today has been very messy. I was blocked personally. I never went, I never came in town. Like I was blocked. Tukasumbuliwa sana. Imagine we were in a private car anyway, but tukawekewa hadi vitu zingine, yani yenyewe polisi wa Kenya tu wachana na hao. Yani imagine they don't feel what's going on. These people even are angry. You can see by their lips. Their lips are dry, but I don't know the problem in Kenya. I was watching the news, the border guys complaining, oh, today someone has 200 shillings and usually you go to sleep with almost 2,000. I said, yes, now this is what we are doing. Because if these people are the one they are usually hired by these goons to come and block our demos, I think they should feel it when it's time for them. So let's plan this thing again in a good way and and in an inclusive way where each and every person will feel like I am in this. Because in this Nane, some of the Gen Zs, they even distance themselves from it because they felt like, oh, some people have benefited from this already. But let's go with one aim. And this thing, like, let me say, tribal thing, it's affecting us. Imagine you cannot celebrate that, oh, someone by the name, oh, my fellow Lou has been given CS, a CS of what? So what? If you are jobless, you will remain to be jobless. Whether that person is a CS of public what and CS of what, still you'll be jobless. So let's not be stupid and celebrate things that will never help us. Someone celebrating that you've been given a CS slot. So what? So let's be vigilant. At least let's be focused. Change is inevitable. You know, even if they try to stop this, let's plan again. 2027. The person that will not vote in 2027, don't allow yourself to work with that person. In fact, you'll be showing me, I personal, all of my friends, I'll be verifying that mark that you voted, and now our friendship might continue from there. But if you don't vote 2027, you'll never be a friend of mine, I personally. So, as we plan for these demos till 2027, let's now just go mobilize our people to have the identification cards. When it comes to registration of voters, let's go massively and we'll save ourselves. Otherwise, we'll still remain in this captivity hands of our we'll be slaves in our own land. That's my submission, K24. Thanks for this chance.
Thank you so much, Chelugeti, for your thoughts. A quick reminder for everyone who's on the speakers panel and who are on the request list, kindly, when the mic is passed to you, keep your comments as short as possible so that everybody can have the chance to speak their mind. And in that vein, I'd like to read a comment from Fred Nzioka. He says, if the group had leaders, it would have been the group that government sat down with today. The Gen Z movement would have replaced the opposition and find their way to the broad-based government. That would have been a step. Benjamin, I'd like to hear from you. Do you agree with Fred Nzioka? If yes, tell us why, and if no, also tell us why.
Hello, this is Benjamin. The state of the nation, the future beyond Nane. I believe that today has been a good day, and we've achieved a lot as the GenZs. What I know is that we need to identify major headlines so that we refocus our agenda. For today, I can say that we didn't have an exact thing to stand with because we have many agendas, and we didn't actually deal with state departments. So we need to dig down to know exactly where the problem is, and we strategize, and I think we are going to win. Otherwise, have a good day. Thank you, K24.
Thank you for your thoughts, Benjamin. So, there was no real agenda, and there were no main issues, concerning the government that the people who are protesting today came out of the streets saying. I'd like to hear, before the previous protests, there were so many things that the Gen Z had spoken about. They wanted the finance bill to be dropped and all of those things, and most of those things we saw them coming to pass. And we also saw the president dissolving the cabinet secretaries. All of them were sent home, but the others were reappointed most of them. And last week we didn't get a chance to discuss the vetting process, but now that the cabinet secretaries have been sworn in, I'd like to know if you believe that the process was thorough and that they were up to the task. I'd like to hear from Dr. Onyango.
Yes, good evening, host. I hope you're able to hear me.
Yes.
Thank you very much, K24, for this platform. I am here just to be able to set the record straight on a few issues. I have listened to a few of the speakers that came before me, and I appreciate their sentiments and empathize with their feelings for the way the day has turned out. But I would like to say that from where I stand or from where I sit, I think this movement has been a great success. The success of this movement cannot be put to question because the things we have achieved so far, we could not have achieved without this movement. So let no one try to push the narrative that this thing has failed. This thing has not failed. Whatever turned out today was bound to happen. Yeah, if we were realistically thinking, many people anticipated that the protest today would turn out the way they have turned out. But that is not to say that this movement is not without success. The kind of civic education, the kind of awakening that this movement has brought among the young people who a few months ago, 2-3 months ago, did not even care about what is happening in this country. I teach in a public university in this country. I teach these GenZs. I know my classes. These are people who, even if you engaged them on general knowledge issues, most of them had no idea. They would even tell you, sometimes I would ask them, do you even follow what is happening in politics? Do you follow what is happening in the country? Do you even watch news? And you'd realize most of them just didn't care. But look at what is happening today within the last 2-3 months. Everyone is now quoting the Constitution of Kenya in every second sentence. A Gen Z can quote, can drop a quote from the Constitution of Kenya. How can you say that such a movement has failed? For us to succeed, that awakening needed to be done. And that is one of the greatest achievements that this movement has made. And I want to put it and request the mainstream media, now that we are on a mainstream media platform here, K24, please help the young people of this country who came out to fight for the future of this country, but we have been tagged as if we are destroying the country, that we are anarchists and we are criminals. No, which criminal would be agitating for good governance? Which anarchist would be on the street risking their life so that we can have transparency and accountability in our governance system? So I would want to appeal to the mainstream media, led by K24, now that this is the platform we have come to immediately after the Nane. Help us push the right narrative. This movement has succeeded. The country, not only Gen Z, but the entire country is awakened. And I can tell you, the next moment we have an opportunity to go back to the ballot, you are going to see something that has never happened in this country. My second request to all of us through the mainstream media, the matter of leadership has been taken completely out of context. We are not asking for a leader. We are not the fact that we said we are leaderless. Now the media has tried to put it that if we sit down and appoint a leader today and identify with him or her, then all our problems will be sorted out. Is that true? Is that realistic? That if we chose one leader today, then this movement is going to be successful overnight? No. We are living in a world now where we don't have to rally and worship people the way ODM worships Raila Odinga, and UD and the KK regime can't say no to President William Ruto. Right now, even in serious leadership and management classes, we are not talking about that kind of leadership. Leadership has been reduced, has transformed into servant leadership, where the leader is just a coach, is the first among equals. You are there to fetch water,
and food for your people. That is to mean to create an enabling environment and just to be able to inspire and to guide your people. But the decision comes from the people themselves. We must have an that is the context in which this thing must be understood. When people talk of leadership, how I wish they would have talked of just organization. How can we organize ourselves better, plan better, coordinate better, and have this movement a success? The kind of leadership we are going to have after this movement, the kind of system we are going to have in this country is not a system where we shall rally and worship one man. We are not going to have a one man or a one, how do I even put it? A one man system where a political party is just about one man. Nobody is here to live forever. Nobody can claim the monopoly of knowledge. We are living in an information era. We are leading people who are more empowered, people who are educated. We must be able to reason together as Gen Z and millennials and Kenyans of goodwill who are supportive of this movement, and we will chart a way forward. So let nobody sit us down and lecture us that we failed because we did not have a leader. The leaderless, formless, faceless movement is all we needed to have achieved the gains that we have achieved so far. If we need something else to achieve further gains going forward, we are competent enough, we are capable, we have gone to school, we have young, energetic people who are very passionate. In fact, I was on the street myself today because I believed in the passion. And one thing that inspired me, I was with young people who came all the way from Kilifi to come and stand with movement. I was with a young man who came all the way from Embu. I know even ladies, there are girls, young Gen Z ladies who came all the way from Kilifi, students of from the university to come and be able to stand with this movement. We supported them, we hosted them because we knew that they were doing the right course. So let no one try to discourage us by telling us that this movement has failed. I think that is a ploy by this regime so that people can be discouraged and so as to kill the spirit of this movement. The spirit of this movement is so strong, it cannot be killed. It is bound by the blood of hundreds of Kenyans who have paid the ultimate price for us to be here today. The spirit cannot die. So we will, as the Gen Zs and millennials and people of goodwill, patriots of Kenyans who believe in good governance and a future for us, for our children and the children of our children, against this tyrannical regime where people are flaunting billions and millions. People are living in opulence, yet the rest of us are suffering. My students in the university can't sit exams because of that. We will emerge stronger. This movement has succeeded. Mainstream media help us to pass the right message, give us platforms to be able to educate our people. We shall emerge stronger out of this movement. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ri. You said something along the lines of the solution of whatever this country is going through comes from ourselves. That is us as Kenyans. And Musa has commented and says, let's first of all, as Kenyans, we leave tribalism far away so as to maintain the humanity we had earlier. By doing this, my fellow Kenyans, we will do good because we all Kenyan, we are all Kenyan. We know Kenya is our nation, a nation with peace, and we should maintain it. I'd like to hear from Geoffrey. Um, what does your plan C or plan B look like beyond Nane? What should Kenyans do, Geoffrey?
Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
Thank you so much for the opportunity. And this is my take in regards to this movement and all the activities that we've been having in the country. First of all, I would like to say we might not have achieved a lot, but a few of the goals that we had have been achieved, and we are grateful because we united. But I would like to request the Gen Zs, the millennials, and the other groups of ages to stay united, because we are entered to 2027 where we will have to elect in new leadership, and we have to. Many people have been saying that the youth do not vote simply because these people do not have IDs. Men do not register as voters. The only way that we can do away with this regime is not even by overthrowing the government. It's by a vote of confidence to someone who is able to lead us, who is able to take us into the next level of development. We've seen this regime failing. It has recently, the president disbanded the cabinet, the entire cabinet. He re-elected at least almost 12, almost half of the cabinet back to the regime to serve the nation. Yet the members of the nation, the public, had no confidence in those cabinet secretaries. That means this government is rewarding its loyalties. So we have to have a plan B now that we failed to overthrow the government. We failed to not really to overthrow the government, but we failed to realize our goal, which is to have a fresh new leadership at this period of the year. Now we have to have a plan B for the year 2027. We have to register as voters. We also have to get our voters card, our national IDs ready. Because if you don't have a national voters card, then you can use your national ID to cast a vote if you are registered as a voter. As a voter, so we just have to unite and get ready for the 2027 years elections. And that's my take in regards to this. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Geoffrey, for your thoughts. But I feel like 2027 feels like it's far away. How else can Kenyans continue to hold the government accountable beyond today's demonstrations and the demonstrations that have been happening in the past months? I'd like to hear from Opio Ouma.
Well, thank you, K24, for this opportunity. Can you hear me? Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, thank you. So I just wanted to say that as at the moment, youth needs to rethink and decide that all the kind of games that they have been playing, like in the first place, where they always go for handouts, that time is over. If they are real and they want these issues sorted out, then it is true that those days are over, and they need to rethink and have a proper way out on how they are going to actually change this system to what they really want. I have had quite a number of politicians, after regrouping together, they are saying now that the problem that is derailing the country is lack of policies. Yet we see even the NADCO report that they had discussions and they made were only lying under the table until that time that GenZ came into place. So it is upon us as youths going forward that however much or how long it will take to restore this sanity in this country. But I am very sure that everybody in the political class has been educated that the style of 2027 elections has changed and has changed permanently. So to the question of how should we anticipate into the future by bringing this government into account before then, one, we need to refrain from this unnecessary gathering. When they flock around with our taxes, trying to have some boat popularity, we need to refrain from such kind of gatherings. Number two, we need to actually go into taking vote identification get ready for 2027, but that does not mean we relent from asking or calling out any leader who has been seen demonstrating opulence lifestyle without actually convincing us that whatever that is being showed off is in regards to what they have achieved in the right way. Lastly, it is high time that we are going to focus on recalling these MPs before 2027. We are very glad we have achieved great miles because one institution like IBC is being constituted, and that is one of the weapons that we strategize with. So let us not forget, once it's the reconstitution process is done, we are going to start recalling those people. Like if you look at what happens in Meru currently, the interest is not that the governor is maybe exercising something too wrong that these others are not doing. Things like employing their own maybe relatives and whatever that they claim about. All these governors are doing them. But look at the problem is the group of MCAs who are there. They are not feeling the weight of corruption that they want to inject in that leadership. So they are ganging up. So such kind of people are only treated well when it comes to recalling them out. And I'm looking forward to the president to revoke the threshold of the constitution and disband all that county leadership so that everybody who claims to have been right before the citizens should go back and acquire their seats back. Otherwise, let us focus on the IBC process and let us have good plans on how we are going to recall these people. Once that is successful, finally, we are going to ensure that each agitative youth, each intelligent youth who is qualified to vie for a particular political post will be supported. Otherwise, thank you.
Thank you so much for your thoughts. Let's hear from Ongo Engineer. Do you agree with Opio Ouma?
Thank you very much, K24, for hosting this, and I'm grateful. So first of all, let me say I'm very sorry to those who maybe got injured on the streets today while we were doing the normal demonstrations. I'm not happy about it, so it happened just like that. So I'm really feeling sorry for the family and the friends. First of all, K24, I'd like to say that our move, even those who went to the street today, what they did never went on vain. So personally feeling that our movement is still intact, but it is only that the only challenge we had today is that due to the appointments that were done countrywide in the cabinet, maybe made some people to make some decisions because I believe that some people are still happy about the things that happened. But personally, I feel that it is not yet Uhuru, so we should just continue with the move, and we should not be supporting the impunity that is in Kenya right now. So the question is, what is the move forward? How can we move forward? So personally, I would suggest that the only thing that we should be doing right now is to hold on for some time so that we can find new tactics. You know, when a thief has raided you and now for the first time, you exactly know where the loopholes were. So it's like these people now, they've realized that when they block such and such a route, now we cannot proceed. But I feel that we should be strategizing. We should be holding. We should hold for some time so that we strategize. Because hata mvua unajua ikinyesha for sometimes unapata kwa sasa the clouds zimerudi chini. So we should recollect and then we come back when we are very strong.
Another solution maybe is to persistently do it. Like when maybe we start doing it from Monday to Friday. I think when that will really hinder the economy of Kenya, and the government will now realize or will feel the impact. But the best we should do is to hold on for some time, and then we re-strategize, we find new tactics, then we come back. But our move is okay. Even those who went to the road, to the street today, what they did, we never went on vain. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your thoughts, Ongo, and for your opinion. Let's hear from Paul Isoba. Your hand has been up for a minute. Then after you, we'll have it's the principal, then Muhonja, Pamela, in that order. And also kindly keep your comments as short as possible so that as many people as we can get can have a chance to speak. So Paul Isoba.
Thank you very much, host, listeners, and the rest of the people on this platform. Thank you very much. I appreciate for the mic. I must say that today's activity has not failed. It's been successful, even though the media has shunned it. But in the future, we request and we ask for the media attention, because this is something that has been big. You know, it is still big, still exists. Why hasn't it failed? First of all, the constitutional right to peacefully protest has been thwarted by the police. The police brutality continues, right? That is still a problem for Mr. Ruto. We failed to kick him out of office today because he's being helped by police. And it is alleged that on social media that some police from Uganda, police from Tanzania have been deployed in disguise of Kenya police. That should be investigated in the future, or even in what happened today. Two, that's a big thing. Two, we still have so many problems that GenZs are demanding, and if those demands are not met, that means this is just Nane is the beginning, as we've been hearing it in social media over and over again. And those demands are, one, the justice for those who have been killed in the peaceful process so far. We need the system to change. We've had a U.S. Under Secretary of State come recently and meet President Ruto, and they discussed with issues of democracy and human rights and accountability. Those are also indicators that Ruto is facing and must respond to them immediately. And the issues that unite us again, issues with national IDs. Citizens are not in favor of having a national ID that expires. Okay, that is taking away a Kenyan citizen's right to become a citizen by birth. You know, that whereby citizenship is like renting it. Okay, that is foreign. And also, she knows how to make an entrance. Also, other issues such as the GMOs, you having to get license to register your cows and all that. Such things are foreign interest, and the foreign interest will do anything to stop citizens from kicking Ruto, who is in favor of these policies. So if those things do not change, Mr. Ruto, at some point, GenZs are still around, and the issues with corruption and the issues with favoring certain people when they don't qualify to be in certain offices, but because they are doing his work, it will not favor Mr. Ruto. With all those few points, and in the interest of time for other speakers, I beg to submit. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Polisoba.
Okay, thank you so much. Do you get me?
Yes, we do.
Okay. My submission is I think the movement has gained a lot. the most important, many people have not realized that we have been able to expose so many things. Remember about JKA, remember about all these bills. They came because of this movement. So please don't look at just the physical things that people are not able to achieve, but there are so many things that people have been able to follow up, to put in the limelight. So for me, that is one of the things that we need to continue to be very active citizens, knowing very well now we don't have an opposition. So it means that we have to put our eyes on all the bills that are coming up in Parliament so that we know exactly what the MPs, because now ODM and Kenya Kwanza have united. So there are so many things that will go unnoticed. So as much as we want to congregate, we need to be very observant. We need to be very vigilant on those bills. Anything that is passing in the Parliament, any deal that we hear, we need really to be very active online to discuss, to continue discussing about what is happening, and that is what will keep the government on its toes. The other thing, we need to focus on the major sectors like education, like agriculture, like health, and start criticizing all those things that are not working with ultimatums. Because what I have realized that if you give the government that we have given 3 weeks and we keep reminding it's 3 days, it's 2 days, it's 4 weeks, they will start knowing that people are really active. And the most important place that we need to focus is the Parliament, because that is what has brought us this far. So what I would really think, all these people without CDF, they have nothing. They cannot be able to come because now everyone thinks that it's the MP that provides this money, yet it is taxpayers' money. So for me, we should continue pushing that we should have free education and equality to everyone, that you don't need to beg for 4,000, 5,000. So it is unconstitutional to have CDF managed in Parliament. So we should continue pushing so that we remove the powers from MPs. The moment we remove CDFs, these MPs will not have power. So for me, those are the things that we need to continue, have a timeline that we keep reminding them that by this date we'll be coming, we'll have demonstration, because this has not been achieved yet. We are pushing on this. So, and then on the other part, we should continue working as a movement that has no leaders. Because you may never know. Me, I'm not a Gen Z, but I'm a parent to a Gen Z, and I have been working with that with my daughter. She's in med school, and it makes me so hurt that they cannot get internship. So everyone, don't imagine it's only Gen Z that are affected. Even the parents who are not able to provide are very affected. So what I can tell you, continue being together. It doesn't matter where you come from. You don't need to celebrate, because even if you celebrate, me, I come from Central Kenya. We had, I don't know how many, 7 people. We have been having a president, but me as an individual, what have I gained? So, mutu wetu, we do a lot of civic education. We did it very well in the beginning, that in churches, we continue showing them what is so important of being together. What has messed us most is mutu wetu, and we need to fight it. We need also to remove all these kanu orphans. If we are able to clean the system, and we start demanding for all those commissions, the RAD commission, the Dungu commission, the Waki commission, those are the things that we want to make a clean government, a clean system. And please, let's all of us register. And that is my submission. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, the principal girl. Let's hear from Muhonja, and then after Muhonja, the world of investigation.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for this opportunity, K24.
I would like to make my submissions on the basis that we are dealing with people with very slippery personalities, because it is quite evident from how the police are handling protesters in the street. It is seemingly that we are not on the same side. Secondly, if some of us have made an effort of listening to the president's speech, it is seemingly noticing that we do not have an enemy at this point. Because from the president's speech, it seems like we are on the...
Sorry, Muhonja, Pamela, you can unmute your mic. Apologies for that.
Oh, thank you. So as I was mentioning, I was saying that there's a lot of online deception. Yeah, people are being hyped up in media, but on the ground things are different. But I would like us to put up for the fact that we are living in a country that is facing a lot of anarchy currently. The constitution has been neglected. Some things are being laid out even without considering the constitution. We are having people who are occupying unconstitutional offices. We are having very weird things happening, and we come again and ask ourselves, why is this happening in this way? So I would like us to put our attention to the very fact that this issue on tribalism is something that we cannot solve. I am sorry to say this to you Kenyans, but we can never solve tribalism. Remember, tribalism in Kenya is a mechanism of identification. My name is Muhonja Pamela. I come from the western side. So and so is from the eastern side. So it is a mode of identification. And one thing I'm quite shocked is we are still talking about tribalism in the 21st century. It is quite shocking. But anyways, this doctrine or this thing of mtuetu, because a man is only faithful to his stomach. And I tell you, my Kenyans, there are people who have been trash talking the president. And if you look at they have been awarded positions of the CSS. And if you look at how they used to talk about the president, it's quite shocking. A man is only faithful to his stomach. And one thing I would like to put to attention is the issue of the tisa tisa. The tisa tisa is coming up, and I'm shocked to tell you that these people, or rather the tisa tisa, is being launched or rather targeted on the comrades. Remember, in mwezi wa tisa, comrades will be in school. Most universities today will have resumed, so they are really banking. The success of tisa tisa is really being banked on the comrades to have it fully executed. And my fellow Kenyans, what I can just tell you is that the KK government is a necessary evil. This is something that we had plunged ourselves into. Sisi wenyewe tulikubali, venye tulienda kwa ballot tukavote. We have the only way, as one of the speakers have mentioned, is we have to be very perseverant. So that when it comes to 2027, all of us can go to the ballot and make a change. Because we have seen a lot, and we are yet to see. Actually, we are yet to see. So I would like us to put out that we have a decision to make. We have something to do, and more so the church. We are really beating about the bush, but the church has really messed us. As a Christian, as someone who's quite knowledgeable about what's going out here, the church has really put us into a pitch that you cannot come, because the church has been a point of looting, and a point of we have seen political parties really staging their activities in the church. So it is really bringing out a very shocking thing that why? But anyway, we have to, as I've said earlier, the Kenya Kwanza government is a necessary evil. We have to really be patient. We put ourselves in this, and let me tell you, as much as maandamano will go, but at the end of the day, wanasema nini? Si watarudi tu nyumbani, because wanaona utaandamana leo, utaandamana kesho. Remember, you're a businesswoman, you're a businessman. Will you be leaving your business every single day to go and andamana? That is the thing they're using against us. And when they stand to talk, and I'll without blanket, or I will mention it, when they stand to talk, they are talking in a different tone, which is okay. But they know that we cannot demonstrate today, tomorrow. And one thing, the GenZs have come out, and people are learning. But still, wanajua we shall demonstrate today. Tomorrow, kesho kutwa utaona biashara yako inaingia maji, utarudi kwa streets tena. Hapana. So thank you so much, K24. And what I'm encouraging my fellow Kenyans, this is a necessary evil. We plunged ourselves into it, and we have to take it. I hand over the mic to the next speaker. Thank you so much.
Thank you for your thoughts, Muhonja, Pamela. We'll have World of Investigation, then Limenik, then Sigret. to in that order, and kindly keep your comments as short as possible because we need to be almost done.
Okay, thank you so much, the host K24 and every listener who is here. It's a good time to be alive and holding this discussion. So, my submission today will be very short. I want to start by telling you that when I was young, I made a fight with a friend, and I still remember to date. Now that I'm over 30, I still remember that. So that fight still makes me remember a very long time. So there is another scenario I can say. World War One was fought for from 1914 to 1918 for 4 years, and up to today we still feel the effects of World War One. Then we came to World War Two, which was from 1940 to 1944 for 4 years. Those two wars took 4 years. So and we still feel their effect after a century. So what I want to say that the fight is still on. Actually, Ruto has won because of he created fear in us. He created fear in us, and if that was the right way to approach it, then he might think he has won, but he hasn't won. He has created fear in us, and that is actually that is why many people didn't show up, like Bangladesh or Nigeria, because in our case, there were so many deaths which were mysterious. There were even abductions. So through fear, we have he has created fear in us. So we backed off. Kinda. Another thing I want to say is that we have not lost. Actually, we have not lost. Wait and see. In 2027, you will see the difference. There might be a TikToker who was doing dancing and cooking, but this wave or these activities has changed a mind of a young person. And I want to throw the balls to young people. It is time to take the ball into our hands. Uh, this is an opportunity that you can use. Like personally, let me say, I didn't know people like Samuel. He has created a name for himself. He will create another. I'm trying to assume he will create another a circle of youths who will take the leadership of tomorrow. So it's not in vain. We have not lost. We have learned, and actually, Ruto has created enemies. Ruto has created enemies, and the effect will be felt come 2027. So I want to throw the balls to the youths who are here. Kindly engage in civic education, get interested in politics, and in 2027 we'll get in the ballot box. Thank you so much, K24, and thank you so much for everyone who is here. That is my submission.
Thank you. Thank you for your submission, Mild of Investigation. Let's hear from Dominic, then Sigret, then Frederick, then Collins.
Thank you, K24, for this wonderful space, and everybody else who is listening. I like the topic of today because it's talking about the future beyond Nane, or rather, the future beyond this civil unrest. I'd like to address two things. First thing is perception. Perception in terms of,
Limenik,
yeah.
we can't hear you
Yes.
clearly.
Is it more clear?
Yes.
Okay. So I was saying there is a problem with the way the strategy was laid down. Number one, we are dealing with still a police force. We are calling it a police service, but it's a police force. So the problem is it will take some time before we transform the police force into
a police service, unfortunately, is going to take lives. I'm worried because if you look at the history of protest in Kenya, even in the previous regimes, you'll notice that we've been losing lives to during protests. So regardless of any leader who comes, if we don't do something about the structural arrangements between the citizens and the police, we are still going to lose lives. And the other thing is the protests are meant to create some form of discomfort amongst all the citizens. But if we are creating discomfort to a small section of citizens, then it becomes unpopular. So I don't know. I'm not in a position to advise the best way out of that. But one of my teachers once told me that even the weakest of government is stronger than the strongest of men. So I think we should look beyond these protests as Kenyans. So much has been achieved. I wouldn't wish to aggregate the benefits or rather the achievement of protest to just saying we have won or we have lost. I don't think it would be fair to do that. We can aggregate these the what we have reaped so far. We've brought so much to public domain, and I think the best thing now is to guard those benefits that we already have and look for a better way of raising our voices. Our democratic space is expanding in ways that we could not imagine even 3 months or 4 months ago, and it's still a good thing. I don't think it's fair to say that all is lost and it feels like an apocalyptic moment right now because today's events didn't turn out as some of Kenyans or rather the people who came to street were expecting. So just to sum it up, let's prepare to register as voters so that in 2027 we make the right decision. I think that should be our rallying call right now. Come out when the voter registration is open. Let's arm ourselves with that voting ability so that in 2027 or rather 2028 or 29 we won't be back to the streets again complaining about the leaders that will be chosen. Bad leaders are chosen by people who don't vote. Thank you.
Thank you for your submission, Leminik. Paul Morigu, you have been on the speakers panel for a minute. Let's hear your thoughts. Then Raymond, alafu tumalizie na cigarettes. Paul? I'm not sure if I'm the only one who can't hear Paul. Raymond, you can go ahead. Okay, TMP. Your hand is up. So you'll go after Raymond, then we finish with cigarettes. Raymond?
Thank you for this opportunity. First, something that I've been wanting to say is that protests ended on 25th of June. After 25th of June protests, the subsequent protests which followed, they have not been genuine. They were infiltrated by people who have been wanting to loot, also politicians, also activists who rely on funding from NGOs. The only genuine protest that happened was on June 25th. Secondly, President Ruto was given an opportunity. He was elected on August 2022. What people were raising about the finance bill, the government dropped the finance bill. So people thought because President Ruto dropped the finance bill, that now should be telling him, okay, power, we have been saying that about Article 1, power to the people. But now we can't be telling the president on who he should appoint as cabinet secretary. I mean, I know maybe we have different opinions, but we can't be choosing people who the president should appoint as cabinet secretaries. We have an opportunity to elect a president on 2027, but as at now, he was given an opportunity by Kenyans to lead the people of Kenya. We can't be directing the president even on small issues on what he should do. Otherwise, what would be the function of our leader? We can't lead all of us. Imagine if we were to give suggestions, all of us 50 million Kenyans, to president on who we should appoint as cabinet secretary. Would really he have an opportunity to lead or to appoint someone? Otherwise, I request all of us young people that we give the president time. We allow the president to lead. If we are not comfortable or we do not like whatever he does, we vote him out 2027. Otherwise, there is no genuine protest right now. The only protest that happened, it happened on June 25th. Otherwise, currently, there is no reason for people to protest. If you're going to protest, you're not genuine, you're just wasting your time. 2027, take out your vote and go vote out William Ruto if you think that he's not done what he's supposed to do.
Thank you for your submission, Raymond. TMP, and then finally Secret. Mind Power Program.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much, K24, for the opportunity. And I'm going to break down my talking point to 5. So first thing, I'm going to do an introduction what TMP is. So TMP does mental health after it began after COVID, when many people started losing their lives to death by suicide and unplanned murders due to, anger issues, aggravated anger issues, and all of that. And so that is basically what MindPoint does. And so my suggestion today, and literally the whole time has always been national conversations, because as much as I don't want to differ, but I didn't appreciate the tone that some people used regarding, how it's not going to yield results and all that. When the whole of protests began, it was because of issues affecting the people, and the first one was the finance bill. And after that, I will agree with Raymond. It was infiltrated by people who had personal interests all along, and yet we kept using the same mechanisms. So that is where I've been suggesting for quite some time that our next way forward should be a national conversation. And national conversation in what manner? In such a manner that from the grassroots, just like the finance bill, civic education was done from the grassroots. Let's have everyone in this country, from every corner, every county, being involved in raising issues of what is affecting them, such that when we can have all those conversations, and then local media also should be involved, because they can use local dialect and even local, radio stations to also help in civic education to the people, so that people can keep track of, the bills that are happening right now. Like, for instance, there is the livestock bill, there is the conflict of interest bill, and there is the seed one that is in court right now. and so many others that will come, and probably others that have been happening in the 2 years that Kenyans were not concerned with how the governing of the country is happening. So a national dialogue that involves everyone, social media, let people use their local dialect to make sure all this information is passed out. Also, let's use the unity that we witnessed during the 25th demonstrations, where, you know, medics came together, journalists came together, you know, different people with their different professionalism came together, you know, just to pull resources, to pull themselves together in order to achieve a common goal. So once we're able to do that in such a manner that if it's lawyers, then they're able to access all the act or bills or any suggestion that the government is making through or in the sector to do with legal sector. If it's medics, let them take up the medical sector. Any new rule, any new bill, any new act that is being passed, and play a role of passing, you know, civic education to the people in that sector in a language that everyone in this country can understand. So that the fact that we're, you know, educating everyone and Kenya becomes everyone's business, which has been for the past 2 months now, compared to literally since we got independence. We've always left, you know, we've delegated all our responsibilities to the government. So once the county or the local dialogues are done, and then after that a national dialogue can have, talking about the priorities from different counties. And why am I saying this? Because a person from Kisumu does not, literally it makes no sense for them to raise issues for Marsabit, because they understand nothing about what happens in Marsabit. They do not understand what, you know, what it is to live there. And probably the people from Kisumu, their priority is maybe getting hospitals to take care of malaria as it's endemic. But the people in Marsabit, probably what they want, I saw Garissa the other day, students are still you know, studying under a tree in 2024. In the 21st centuries, watoto bado wanasoma chini ya miti jamani. So because this way, once we're able to discuss those things, because again, remember, we don't have a finance bill that we're currently working on because it was rejected. So a national dialogue also will give them the momentum of what are our priorities in the specific counties. And even policies, I've kept on saying policies should be localized, should be made, you know, local policies, and now the national policies is such that they are working for the people. So that once we have people raising their issues and their priority, then something can be drafted that has, you know, outlines. Like, let's say if now we've picked, let's say Nairobi, and we say Nairobi, they're supposed to construct, let's say 10 schools and 10 hospitals. Where are they constructing them? So after 1 year, we're able to have that. And now we also need to have watchdogs, youth watchdogs. That is number 2. After now the dialogue and a national action plan has been, you know, has been formulated. And then after that, we need watchdogs, or literally youths, young people who are able to report back to the people of now the progress. Because again, I feel like that is going to solve the whole problem of His Excellency and the government trying to convince people they have created hubs, ICT hubs that are giving, have given 10,000 people jobs, because we're trying to track back where are those people who have gotten those jobs, and you cannot find them. We're trying to track back what is happening. We're trying to track back where is that ICT hub located? And the other day I saw someone coming up with a video of an ICT hub that doesn't look anything close to what the government has been talking about. So once we're able to have watchdogs and good feedback channels or loops, then that way we can either pick if it's monthly or quarterly or semi-annually, you know, when is this going to be reported back to the people? If we pick it's monthly, what projects, like let's say for instance, we've said in Garissa, they're going to construct 20 schools. The budget has been set aside for these 20 schools in 1 year. So in this month, has the project first of all kicked off? So it's going on and the feedback is provided to the people. In the second month, Where has it gotten? What is the progress? So that by
Mind
the
power,
end of that financial,
start
yes,
landing so that you can wrap up.
sure. So that by the end of that financial year, we're able to account for the projects that have been done. And also, we're going to prevent having stalled projects and also try to mitigate a little bit of corruption. So I don't think I'm able to finish everything. I also don't want to take up time because I'm certain everyone else here has really good suggestions. But one thing I would like to encourage is, I think as of now, we need to stop looking at the past. What has happened should be a learning point for all of us. We can learn a lot from what has happened and now find a way forward, where we're able to make sure that this opportunity doesn't go without the real issues being addressed, which are bad governance, school fees, education sector is going to the drain every single day. Ministry of Health, it's something else. Health in Kenya in a couple of years is going to be disastrous. Right now, what is happening to the retirement plan? People are not getting their pensions. They're not getting their retirement money. Why? Because the money was looted long ago. So that will be the case in all sectors. And that is why from now we need to look at solutions and how we're going to be involved as Kenyans to make sure we, become the watchdogs to what the government is supposed to do. Thank you so much for the opportunity, K24.
Thank you so much, Mind Power program. Paul Morigu, as quickly as possible, and then after Paul, Sigrid, you can go ahead. I can't hear you, Paul. So we'll just go ahead to Sigrid and then we wrap up. Sigrid, you can go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you so much, K24 TV again. I initially wanted to address some questions that one Odoyo Wedi raised in my earlier submission, but I just want to pick on something very quickly. I feel like most Kenyans, even here in this space, do not understand where the country is right now. When I hear somebody say things like, we already got what we wanted and now we should be patient, is it like we are satisfied with good governance? Because when you tell me that it was all about the financial bill and it was rejected, guys, I don't think like you really did understand what Kenyans wanted. Myself, and because many people are saying that this was a self-inflicted government, and that is an issue that even Odoyo Widi said that when immediately I talked about against this government, he tied me to a certain tribe and even associated me with things like Limuru 3. My name is Grace Akinyi. I come from Siaya County. I have never voted William Ruto. I have voted Raila Odinga for all the times that I've been conscious and a Kenyan voter. But we cannot continue with the chain of this tribe is the one that punished us, and therefore we are now celebrating. We are now punishing them back, and then it will be their turn, and then they are punishing us back, and then it is our turn, and then so it is a chain of who punishes, and in the end, the people who suffer are the common mwananchi, the poor people, those children that cannot afford to go through tertiary education because of the funding system, the funding model. We are in a very bad situation. And guys, the kind of government that we are dealing with is not a government that requires patience. Hear me out. This is a government that clearly knows that these are the things that people were talking about during the day, the 25th of September, when Kenyans went to parliament. We were literally shouting out of parliament that, guys, don't pass that bill. And inside that parliament, they were disregarding our voices outside, and they went ahead and passed it. This is a government that has captured all the institutions that can help us to work things out. So when you tell me that, you know what, just be patient and take register your IDs and take the voters card and wait, a government that, so you want to tell me that that parliament that disregarded our voices, that president who doesn't care about good governance, that opposition that was already tossing on the graves of innocent Kenyans and dancing with our oppressors, that they're the ones who are going to form a good IBC that is going to help us air our voices well. IBC is an institution that is supposed to enhance democracy. But institutions are already captured by this government. So how do you deal with a system that is already so rotten that nothing good can come out of it? What do we do in that situation? What we do in that situation is that we must continue with protests. We have to continue with, that is the only language that will make these people uncomfortable. Myself, I don't like violence, by the way. I love peace. But there are situations where peace is only fueling oppression, you know? So yes, we can talk about, yes, I agree with people who are suggesting civic education. I agree with people who are suggesting rallies. I agree with people who are telling, myself, I'm in the AI space. And there's so many things that we can do, even technology-wise, to make our voices be heard. But apart from the things that we can do that are formally adhering to the laws, we also have to protest when we feel like our voices are not being heard. That is the only way to deal with with a government that is rogue. That is the only way to tell the political class that we have no other choice, you know? If it was just like, if these people were listening to us, we would sit down with them, we would dialogue with them. But these are people who do not listen. That's why you see, like now, the policemen are approaching us like militia. The last time I saw images, the ones that I'm seeing right now, is when we were seeing the documentary of Dusit attack of Al-Shabaab. They are the ones who are wrapping their faces like that. And the next time I was seeing, we were seeing similar images of our policemen with no number plates, with cars with no number plates. What kind of government is this? Do they have the goodwill to enable to there's nothing wrong that we are done. And Odoyo Widi was talking about, protesters are banning things and are looting things and are paralyzing businesses. Myself, I had a business that collapsed because of the taxes. I didn't have to even protest. Even without protest, businesses are not doing well in Kenya. The startup industry, if you look at facts, more than 80% of Kenyan startups are failing in the first years. Why? Because we do not have a conducive environment to do our businesses. So even without those protests, the businesses are dying, you know? When you talk about protesters looting, we live in a country where politicians have confessed with their own mouths that they used to buy cars and ban. We have witnessed Northland Farm, the Urus Farm, being looted by politicians. So we are dealing with crooked thugs that want to do things, bad things, and put the bad name on youths. Those are the people that we are dealing with. And when it is a game of pigs, sometimes people are forced to play in the sewage, all of them, you know? That's why we are going for this. Nobody enjoys going and playing with guns on the streets. But now we are forced to do these things because we are dealing with a rogue government and opposition, you know? And so the people who are bringing those tribal of Mtuwetu, I just want to tell you that somebody like myself, I am a Luo from Siaya. And the time of Luos have been given 2 ministerial positions is that we are done with those kind of nonsense. Please, please. Let us also be serious as a nation. Let us be serious, people. We cannot apply the same tactic that failed our forefathers and our parents, and now we are here again playing banters of who is celebrating, which tribe is now enjoying, and which one are we punishing. For how long? You know? And now we are passing that into our generation. So we have to be serious. We really do have to be serious, guys. That is just my submission. This thing of tribal nonsense, and people who are saying that we should wait until 2027. I'm telling you guys, if you are going to wait for this one Ruto that we now know for 2027, we are in this shit, and it is going to be deeper than you know. That one I can assure you. You mark my word. If you are not going to do anything, we are done and doomed. Thank you so much.
Every single person who has tuned in to today's space, those who have commented, those who have come up to the speakers panel, thank you so much for tuning in. We usually do this every Thursday from 7:30 p.m. Today we've gone a bit overboard, but thank you so much for keeping this conversation as interactive as it has been. My name is Priscilla Wahio. I have been your host. Hope to see you next week. Simply